Welcome back to North American LCS, everyone. Now, at the end of the spring split, Cloud9 was riding a huge wave of success. They defended the North American title. They were on the verge of taking the world stage at All-Star Paris. They were looking good.
But the team was pulled back down to earth when, out of the blue, one of their own faced a health crisis.
I was making plans with my friends and some of the TSM people, and we were just eating Korean barbecue together. So it was more or less a normal day, and then it just kind of happened. I felt kind of something like bounce around in my chest or something. It was like something really weird. I'm like, huh, that didn't feel like it. I got home, and then I'm like just walking around, and it became really hard to breathe. At that point in time, I knew something was wrong, so I was like, hey, Lemon, let's go to the ER because I need to.
He had been feeling it all of the day, but this is the first time he mentioned it to me or anything like that. And we left for the ER around 1, I believe. Once we got there, they actually took him to a room for x-ray, and he actually threw up. I think because they took his blood earlier and the pain together kind of made him throw up. He gave me his phone. I was just like talking to people, telling them like the situation, keeping them up to date.
I actually had a message from someone at Riot, and I was like, wait, like, why am I getting a message after midnight from somebody at Riot? And it's like, High's in the hospital, he's got severe chest pains, we don't know what's going on. I call High's number, obviously, and Lemon answers, and I start finding out it was a collapsed lung. I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I was terrified.
For guys mostly that grow up skinny and tall, you get these little air bubbles on your lung. They're called air blebs technically, but they're more or less a little bubble. And they can basically pop at any time. So it could cause your lung to collapse. It's normally not life-threatening, especially for people that are young.
They basically kept checking on him and seeing if it was gonna be like all right, if all the air would kind of get out of the outside of his lung so the lung could reinflate. But a few days later, it was just not going, so they actually had to go and do like a full surgery.
The first thing that went through my mind was like, well, this sucks. And then I started thinking about like, hey, with this condition, the pneumothorax, am I able to go to Paris?
Their first thought is these guys are competitors. They're like, oh my God, this guy can't go to All-Stars with us. What are we gonna do? And I'm like, don't worry about that right now. Like, let's get High healthy. I'm gonna take the first flight out in the morning. Let's get High through this, and then we'll pick up the pieces after.
The procedure that they did, they basically cut open a little hole in my side of my chest over here. It was like with some kind of like needle thing or something. And they like just pushed all the way through my ribs. They're doing the work over here. I was more or less looking away. If I try to look over, there's like some stuff covering anyway. So I couldn't really see, but I could like kind of feel it. They took out most of them on my left lung, I think. They cut out like this much of my lung, I don't really know.
I was nervous for him. I kind of wish that I could have just like stayed with High rather than go to France, but I kind of had obligations to go.
After looking up some of the effects and exactly how painful this is, I was like blown away that he's able to keep his calm. I mean, he's a true leader. He never showed to the guys that, oh my God, I'm scared. Oh my God, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm in a ton of pain. He basically never complained.
I'm definitely super excited to play against every team. I just get more tired easily, so I can't play as long every day. I might not be as good as normal, but I'm not gonna use that as an excuse.
From the moment he got injured, he gave me the list of mids that he wanted to represent him. Throughout every single game, he was sending me messages, tell the guys this, they need to hear this. Let this guy, remind this guy he needs to do this. Even though he's halfway across the world, he was taking care of his team.
Man, I gotta say, High is pretty freaking awesome.
Just goes to show how close you get when you play with a team for this long. They're more like a Cloud9 family than the Cloud9 team.
Yeah, they're living together, man. You heard Lemon say, I didn't even want to go to All-Star. Like, I wanted to sit there and like sit by his bedside as he got better. But hey, I mean, C9 still did pretty well. Well, guys, great to see High back in action with the team, and he's just about to take to the Rift, so we're going to see him in a couple minutes. So we're going to throw it over to Riven Jat to take us into the game.
Thank you very much, Freak. We are kicking off a day with LMQ versus Cloud9. And for LMQ, they're coming into this game off their first loss in LCS yesterday.
Yeah, LMQ was really put on their heels yesterday by Dignitas, who won that game in 27 minutes. And LMQ seemed a few seconds late whenever they were responding to Dignitas' moves. It really showed kind of the rest of the league that this new Chinese powerhouse is not invincible. Right? And today, it's right back on the Rift against the longtime North American favorites. So this will really become LMQ's first big test to see how they respond to a loss against a great team.
And as we saw a little bit ago, Cloud9 have been dealing with setbacks of their own, as they have struggled to reclaim their team synergy with High rejoining.
Yeah, however, in their win against Curse yesterday, they looked to be well back on their way to form. The team was showing more decisive coordination as they methodically took objectives, and they even brought back some old picks. They did Kazakhs in the mid lane and had positive results. So they may still have some work to do. They admit it themselves, but they do look to be fixing their early season problems.
Well, let's see if these problems are all fixed up. Let's get right into the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's LMQ. Top lane is Ackerman, NoName in the jungle, XiaoWeiXiao in the mid lane, Vasilii at AD carry, and more on support.
And on the red side, of course, it is Cloud9. Balls in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle, High in mid, Sneaky on AD carry, and LemonNation on support.
They're going to be locking down champion select, something that Cloud9 is very well known for pretty much owning, and really the reason they take the game in the first place.
Yeah, the strangest thing yesterday, though, is they went back to doing the old school flex picks that they used to do with the Kazakhs switching it up to the last minute, ending up going Lulu support instead of Lulu mid. They really threw a nice curveball at Curse. I wonder if they're going to do a similar thing against LMQ, knowing LMQ is kind of this new team that is relatively unscouted by the North American opposition.
A lot has been seen with Ackerman in the top lane on the Shyvana over and over and over again. 5 times in a row. So something easy to focus out there. We all know that Balls loves to play Shyvana, so that would be easy for him, or just get it off the plate in the first place.
Yeah, Ackerman really had his definite worst game in the LCS yesterday. 0-5-0 on Shyvana early on in the game.
Well, this would be the time. We know Balls to be one of the most solid and consistent players in aggression and defense. We'll see if he can, at this point, take Ackerman down while he's kind of bandaged up after that loss.
It's actually kind of a tricky difference in playstyle where Cloud9 will repetitively gank Balls and help him out again and again, whereas the LMQ style is very much to keep the other 4 people on the team sound and ready to go and make Ackerman fend for himself. Most of the time he can do it, and they've been getting away with it against the other LCS teams. They just couldn't get away with it yesterday against Dignitas.
Van's going through real fast. They do take the Shyvana. Lee Sin as well. And it looks like Ackerman does have his assassin, though, on the Blanc. He'll be able to make an impact this game from whatever he does, and possibly in the mid lane.
Yeah.
We both know High to be aggressive, and XiaoWeiXiao, no different.
Well, with the Shyvana taken away, it means that Ackerman has to play a different champion. He had played Shyvana 5 games in a row. And the question will now become what he goes back to. Obviously, when Cloud9 locks in so quickly, they are allowing Lucian to go through to LMQ. But I imagine they're okay with that because Sneaky played a whole bunch of Twitch at All-Star.
Yep. Also been playing a little bit of Corki, so definitely widening that champion pool for the LCS status and caliber of play. Lucian gets locked in. We're looking to see what more we'll have on support. He actually, I don't believe we've seen Moore's full pool. He definitely plays a set of things, different.
Yeah, and I really like this Zyra pick for Moore as well. With the way that LMQ plays, which is so dive heavy, they just go in again and again. If they're not banning Zyra, they should pick her and keep her on their team because they struggled mightily against the Zyra yesterday in their game against Dignitas. Great job taking it away from LemonNation, who was quite the Zyra player himself.
LMQ means they can dive a little bit more. They're happy about that. Always going forward is one of their goals. We'll see what Cloud9 answers with here. Already have a good team to fight with. That's where Cloud9, even if they lose the laning phase, can easily pull it back at a quick fight on an objective.
Yeah. Or a 4-minute fight at Dragon.
Or a 4-minute fight at Dragon. That was ridiculous.
Taking their time with this one. I don't think they were expecting the Zyra pick right off the bat. It's a quick pivot to Nami. To me, that tells me they're going Twitch 100% as well. Nami is seeing a resurgence in competitive play. Got picked mightily in European LCS, has been picked in Korea for some time. Kind of like a more difficult Sona, but definitely good for the aggressive 80 carries.
I was going to say way back to their old ways of super dives, but it looks like they may just hover right now, seeing what they want. They may just take it. Nami, like you said, Kazakhs picked up on the other side. High could and will be using that Kazakhs in the mid lane as the AD carry to be picked up here. LMQ looking like a week 1 composition here if they bring in the Nunu.
Yeah, it's a lot of big circles for ultimates if they go with this one. The Zyra ultimate, the Nunu ultimate. Interesting how Ackerman would actually pivot to Renekton when Jax seems to have such natural synergy with the Nunu, but they want a stronger early lane matchup, and they do get more control in their overall composition when they do Renekton. They're now very much about that 4-man control, and I'd probably expect to see XiaoWeiXiao split pushing a fair bit on with LeBlanc, and wow, Corki.
Sneaky's been hovering on that Corki the past few days.
Yeah, to pick that over Twitch is rather remarkable to me. Maybe they're just afraid to pick Twitch into the assassination potential of LeBlanc.
Right.
Even though we have seen some teams get away with it because Cloud9 has very little shielding on their team comp. There's the other part where just trying to figure out why they wouldn't go with Twitch.
No, yeah, absolutely.
They have a physical damage mid laner, a mainly physical damage top laner in Shyvana, and a Lee Sin jungle.
That's
and Twitch
true.
does actually more magic damage to champions than physical damage. So
We'll
it
see,
will
though.
diversify their damage a little bit in team fights and make it so LMQ can't just stack armor.
Sneaky loves the Zerg Greaves. Like you said, it's a weird grab there.
Yeah.
The Twitch going all the way through. I'm thinking even LMQ might be scratching their head a little bit about this one.
Yeah, unpicked or banned Twitch, especially with how good Vasilii's been doing on it. But these are two
Yeah.
teams where diving is an utmost priority, and I imagine they're thinking that they can't protect it.
All right, the teams are moving from Champ Select to the Rift, so let's tabulate the votes over at LOL Esports to see who you think will win. That says 51%.
Whoa.
I was going to say 7. 51% calling this one for Cloud9, but don't worry, that can change.
An incredibly close vote here. You can keep voting on Twitter as well by sending either the hashtag LMQWin or C9Win to the @LOL Esports Twitter account. Make sure to include that, and we'll be checking back to see how those Twitter votes are calling the game as well, because, man, especially with how Cloud9 looked yesterday, looking kind of like they're back on form, and LMQ hitting their first step of adversity, that's a lot of story in this game coming in with the 50-50 happening right there. I would personally think that Cloud9 would have a bigger chance here, knowing that LMQ is so new, but they have a nice team comp.
We also have to look at the fact that the 80 carries going head-to-head. You see Sneaky versus Vasilii. These two are a few of the top 80 carries in the league right now. And we'll have to see if Vasilii really chooses to show his aggression that he's known for.
Well, especially when Vasilii came over to North America, in solo queue particularly, Vasilii was just wrecking people by being 100% aggressive all the time. And then a lot of the LCS caliber mid lane or 80 carries and supports would learn how to counter his aggression fairly well. And Vasilii has done a good job so far in the LCS regulating his own play and just being efficient instead of over-aggressive. The most kills by 80 carries. Obviously had a bad game yesterday, but coming into the week, he had 28 kills, which was 13 more kills than the next closest 80 carry, and he had been dominating. But once again, up against Sneaky, a team that would wait for him to get aggressive.
And that lane would be good. C9 actually running Ignite on LemonNation coming in for this one on Nami. A little bit more aggression in that lane to Moore's exhaust on Zyra for the zone control. CLMQ making their way towards the red in a very split Cloud9. Will be safe. That was close.
Yeah, this is actually the same level 1 with one that LMQ did yesterday with one slight variation. They put a ward in their own red buff right there so that they could see Cloud9 moving in there. When LMQ did this yesterday, they got vision for themselves in the enemy red buff, but had no way of knowing where the other team was. And if we remember, Dignitas actually got a first blood on a NoName. This time, LMQ doesn't make the same mistake. They warded themselves so they know at least where the danger lies.
The slow moves does not right now look like we're going to get the matchup in the bottom lane. And it's going to be balls heading towards that area. So the 2v1s, at least to start. Actually, balls heading into the jungle, rather. So the 2v-nuns, I should say, to start this one off.
Yeah. Farm heavy, roam heavy is generally what we're going to be seeing here. Sneaky and Lemon walking through the ward, and I wonder how much Ackerman's going to be a jungle friend with NoName as they share experience, and how much they're actually going to give to NoName, because yesterday we had a similar opening in this game. Actually, Meteos getting harassed down by more of it.
Wow. We'll just come back for it. Good play, though. LMQ always is trying to do something. You got to give them that.
I have to say as well, what I'm most interested now that we have these 2v0 openings is comparing Ackerman's farm to Balls' farm when the lanes actually happen. Because in almost all of Cloud9's games where they've done the strategy, they try and make sure Balls has a 1v1 advantage when the lanes even out that way, and LMQ has put almost no priority on that. And in Super Week, they got away with it. Ackerman was able to play from behind and still become successful. Yesterday against Dignitas was the first time they were heavily punished. When Ackerman eventually got into one-on-one lane against Zion Spartan, he was down a level and a longsword, and then ended up getting killed repeatedly. I wonder if LMQ is going to change up or if they feel like that was just an aberration.
Well, being the top team, like we said, at the end of the week, you are headhunted. People are watching your games over and over, so they're going to be waiting for those little things. A little bit towards the dragon here.
Plant
LMQ.
tank with the feast. It's very easy for LMQ to take this early dragon. They don't lose out on hardly anything, so instead of deciding to roam and counter jungle, they decide to take a dragon. And because they're the blue side with this 2v0, this is their objective to take.
That's great for Ackerman as well. Usually he's not involved in this. He's just soaking up jungle camps. So a nice bit of experience there. A nice gold lead to start off the game, just under 4 minutes. Vasilii's going to get some help back in the bottom. We'll see how C9 moves off of this, though.
Yeah, they look to just be sharing jungle continually. Cloud9 is very content, I suppose, with allowing LMQ to get that dragon. Surprised that when they went into LMQ's blue side of their jungle, they didn't leave any small minions up, so when LMQ rips back around to that side, there's going to be plenty left for them. Cloud9 actually does no denial, so overall this early game is absolutely falling in the sides of LMQ.
See if Hai can play as aggressive as he wants. There's staple XiaoWeiXiao play, putting Hai down to half HP as he chugs through the potions, like you said, that long sword start, keeping himself alive.
I mean, he's went through his potions already. XiaoWeiXiao allowed complete freedom with this 1v1 because of the warding of LMQ. They're not afraid of the triple roam gank. And another ward to just spot out exactly where they are. Plus, NoName gets it. Yikes.
Goes out the snowball. Very nicely done. And this time, chat, they aren't going to put Ackerman by himself. They do decide to switch up this situation.
Yeah, they're keeping a support with him. That's actually something Curse has been doing a lot of.
Good, yeah, good point.
Especially in Quas laning. See if Balls can get ahead now. The Balls is doing a 1v1 against Vasilii, and Ackerman's still grouping up, but Renekton is the control master in these early games. Let's see if LMQ tries to make anything aggressive happen.
Very strong play. Kind of works with the support roaming around. More can fall behind in levels. It won't be detrimental to him. You'll still be able to zone out once you get 6, so as long as LMQ keeps all their ducks in a row, this will be good for them.
They actually swept when they came through here, so Meteos has to bail out because he had no safety. Another buff steal by NoName. So the counter jungling coming in pretty heavy from LMQ, and most importantly, I feel like this 1v1 isolation in the mid lane is really allowing XiaoWeiXiao to take an early advantage over Hai, sending Hai back to shop and being up in that CS.
We always said the XiaoWeiXiao, like the average 10, he's up at a certain point in time and he's already starting that lead. Vasilii on the balls as he's at least trying to stay in experience range, but Vasilii's not having any of that. He puts himself goal side of the minions. 6 minutes on the clock. We get Hai returning to lane, trying to build damage immediately. Goes for that pickaxe.
Yeah, he rushed his Ravenous Hydra yesterday. And he actually evolved his Q first as the mid lane assassin, trying to get the isolations instead of the skin or the ultimate like many jungle Kazakhs do. He's got the lane in a good place at least.
That blue still not respawning. Cloud9's little minion is still alive there. That could be different. Not that Hai is going to super duper need it, or Meteos, but still. XiaoWeiXiao and the team can definitely use that to their advantage with the wards going down on it. They have 2 deep wards in the bottom half of the jungle, so LMQ is already thinking ahead of the game. They got these lanes won in their mind.
I find it really interesting as well that instead of equalizing the lanes, while Ackerman had a potential lead on Balls, they're both doing the 2v1s, and Balls actually getting pushed completely off the turret this time in the bottom lane. Maybe even
FB! First blood coming in from Ackerman as LMQ kind of just waltzes down the bottom lane.
Ackerman teleported in for that one. So really putting a bit of a focus onto Balls, which is something very unlike the LMQ team. They do not generally help out Ackerman or try to stop the enemy top laner. They leave that to him. Bit of a change in strategy and a very substantial early game lead here on Cloud9.
See what they can continue to do. NoName making sure that he's staying in spots that really utilize helping each one of the lanes. Sneaky taking down the top turret. They'll get a little bit of gold back for that, but like you said, with LMQ's lead right now, the map pretty much theirs to control.
Yeah.
Blue buff going over here to XiaoWeiXiao.
And with the Sightstone on Nunu, the vision control is going to be immense for LMQ. When you pick the Nunu jungle, especially if you're pairing it with a Renekton, your team composition is all about control. It's not so much that in a perfect world 5v5 team fight they would win, because they would probably lose if the team just bashed their heads into each other, but they should have so much vision control, overall map speed and map presence, that that fight never happens.
Yep.
And it's actually now a minigame of whether Cloud9 can find advantageous fights despite being outwarded and outpositioned on the map.
Well, being outwarded on that blue buff, Meteos just cleared it 7 minutes on that, so we'll see it around 15.
Gets a tri-brush ward.
Yeah.
Golf clap from the crowd.
It's something that'll get you. Get you every time. Just a steady gold lead from LMQ. They're really not putting themselves into tight situations. Sneaky with some damage. And XiaoWeiXiao, once again, the blue buff is there. This could be a kill, but he will not go in. Doesn't really know where Meteos is right now in the encounter.
Still has his ignite as well, so High basically has to go immediately back. It's more about XiaoWeiXiao showing his power CS-wise than necessarily killing him. And he's doing exactly that. It's what he was able to do during LMQ's undefeated Super Week every game.
Great poke coming in from Sneaky. Making sure to get an upper hand in the lane whenever he can. And it looks like they are going to get pushed back off of this one. Coming on the left side. If NoName can get a blood boil in, he may be there in time, but it is not enough. LMQ just getting pressure on the lane. NoName going to clear out some wards.
Yeah, tons of pinks. Very early sweepers. As LMQ continues to try and press in on this, you can really see how 1v1 LeBlanc is destroying High's Kha'Zix.
And the speed of games always increases when you see the wards coming out. We've seen it with Dignitas recent games. LMQ back to 2 Sightstones very early. Going in, XiaoWeiXiao toying with High right now, but not really afraid of anything on the outside. They have the map controlled.
It's generally a matchup that LeBlanc has a pretty big edge in, so it's a great job by XiaoWeiXiao. Looks like he's going to be around 90 CS at 10 versus 60 on High, which is actually 10 higher than his average was. High jumps in, but that's the bait.
Super good play coming in from LMQ. They feed him right into that one. XiaoWeiXiao picking up a nice kill to level for himself as well. And Dragon coming up.
That was really just a frustration jump by High. He was trying to slingshot his way back in the lane, knowing he had already lost early. Thought he could burst with the Tiamat. Was not to be. And this is complete control by LMQ. This is the polar opposite of what happened against Dignitas yesterday.
High playing well on Kha'Zix yesterday. Had a different lineup for the rest of the team. We didn't have the Nami play in there, but it just seems like everybody's on a different page right now.
Yeah, it seems like they just can't find the right note in their notebook as far as Cloud9 is concerned. They're getting controlled by LMQ from the very start of the game with the Dragon. The lane swapping, the way that Ackerman has moved around and actually teleported to find a kill onto balls. This time LMQ is keeping everyone involved instead of just playing as 4, and it is really showing through.
Slowly making his way in. You can see Cloud9, at least High here, trying to get himself in a position so the team can at least make some moves here in the next few minutes. It's going to take a while. Everything they do is always going to be countered against.
And listen, vision control around this Dragon area could very well decide this game. At the moment, if LMQ wins another team fight, I don't think there's any coming back for Cloud9. But if Cloud9 does win a team fight, they have the opportunity to equalize the game. So getting rid of that pink ward, clearing LMQ's vision around the Dragon Pit is paramount. LMQ has deep wards, however, so Cloud9 still probably have eyes on them.
Yep. Teleport is up for balls. XiaoWeiXiao taking a bit of damage there from High. Trying to keep himself composed as well. Can't go too far without the team in these ganks. Looks like they're forced to go back. Ooh, XiaoWeiXiao trying to put the pressure on. Does he get himself caught out? They are just toying with Cloud9 right now.
High just doesn't have the items to stick strong. He's got a Tiamat. He was able to build no MR. The very slow Ice Blast still connects post-hop. And XiaoWeiXiao's complete freedom in that mid lane, which should very well give them control over Dragon the next time it spawns.
Vasilii holding on balls in the top lane. Balls will still be able to teleport off of this, but like you said, Dragon very nicely taken. Everybody on LMQ is just going to go ahead and relax in mid lane. Looking at the 80 carries, not too bad coming in for Sneaky. Still have a late game. We talk about Cloud9's team fight. They have Sneaky on the outside to help, as well as some good crowd control from LemonNation, but it's like they look at the same thing with Zyra and Vasilii on the other side. It's going to be very tough. With top lane, LMQ is going to close in on balls here. Not looking safe for him. The ethereal chain comes out. It does lock all the way through. The second one will lock as well. Absolute zero on the end, but do they have enough? The heal comes in. The blessing is not going to be good enough from LemonNation as he tries his damnedest to keep that save.
And the rest of Cloud9 might be trying to collapse, but they just look behind LMQ right now in gold and just in playmaking. High wants to make a play here, but he is all alone. He got
Locked it out, does find it. Very nicely done by him. He's got turret still. This could be Cloud9 coming back. Meteos on the outside. NoName's very low, but he can still offer utility to the team.
Yeah, and remember, there's a sneaky pushing down that bottom lane. How much farm can he get before LMQ falls back? So far, it is just that 1-for-1 trade.
This is LMQ's first semi-stutter step here. They didn't get everything they wanted out of it, and now they're backing off with a bit of a loss. Still in the lead on gold. They have room to make a few errors.
Because honestly, LMQ had been playing pretty much flawlessly up until that point, where they overdove a little bit and allowed High a kill to maybe get himself back in the game. Gotta say, the play by Vasilii there was fairly controlled aggression going in for it, but they just had the wrong turret aggro during that dive. XiaoWeiXiao ended up taking a bit too much damage.
High should be safe here. Putting himself in the solo lane up top now to soak up as much experience. He knows he's a bit behind. Look at that CS 40 in the lead for XiaoWeiXiao. Average for him. He's always got a lead on his mid laners, except for the dig game.
Yeah, the one game they lost.
Right.
Couldn't keep up with the Ziggs, of all things, which is rather difficult. That's what Ziggs does. He gets creeps. Looks like he's got a nice mix of items there. Did have to go Seekers, so his burst potential is lowered for now, until he gets a Death Cap or DFG. They're going in for that blue buff steal. Cloud9 cannot contest.
Cloud9 has the defensive pink ward coverage, actually, but like you said, even not being able to contest, it's what's having the pink ward for. Tough times right now, and just a little gold behind. You can see how much control LMQ has in just 1,000 or few gold. It seems like 10,000.
The two side stones really add to that. At this point in the game, just all the deep wards they have in Cloud9's jungle, they're finding vision of them before Cloud9 even goes for a play. So for instance, LMQ doesn't have wards in their blue jungle, but they kind of know people are in there. Look at the pings, because they know the control of the lanes and they know the control of Cloud9's own jungle.
Cloud9 definitely respecting the play right now of LMQ, and I guess they have to, if you think about it. Both of these teams are kind of born from the challenger scene, coming in to really highlight their caliber of play in the LCS.
Yeah, this is a huge measuring stick game for LMQ, because Cloud9 is a team that followed a very similar path, as you said. Dominating the challenger scene, starting their LCS careers with an undefeated Super Week, and then where do you go from there? LMQ had a slight misstep, and they look to be recovering fantastically. Cloud9 wants to remain the only sheriff in town. LMQ wants to be a new one.
Well, they're doing a darn good job of it. Coming in, working very strong in the solo lanes, makes LMQ a formidable opponent in every game. And right now, they've done some work so far in the mid and bottom lane, looking to get another dragon. So far, two have pretty much been completely uncontested.
Yep.
And you're going to get a third one.
Easily as well.
Wow. Such control.
And as far as picks and bans in this game, Cloud9 is not getting very much value out of their early picks.
Right.
They used very early choices on Meteos and Balls to try and slow down Ackerman and NoName. And quite honestly, they haven't slowed down Ackerman one bit. His reaction has always been feared. He's just been playing Shyvana because maybe a slight preference. And the Nunu is a very LMQ specific pick where they can go outside the normal North American jungler meta and still find success. This is the second time I believe they're playing it, and it's just as successful here. Meteos' Lee Sin has been basically non-existent.
And that's tough for them. Meteos is somebody that gets everything going. If I can't solo a mid lane kill very early, like you said, they go and help out Balls. But that was LMQ this time, like no other team does. Focus down Balls over and over again. 0-2 and 0. He's had to back out of his lane multiple times. Vasilii getting himself into a dangerous position in mid lane as we see Sneaky again on those Zerk greaves. Hasn't been in the fights too much. He's on push duty right now.
Yeah, he's still trying to burst down for a whole bunch of damage, but he's got to be very careful where he goes.
It's just
more NoName can definitely catch him out.
Making the run. That Deathfire Grasp is finished, so
that too.
Big pain from XiaoWeiXiao. Oh, call the meat clear, or W clear rather. Balls is going to get himself back and forth, and a little bit of damage trade. More forward wards as well. Baron could easily be something within the next 3 or 4 minutes. The LMQ feels safe enough pressuring for a fight that they know they can win.
And as well, knowing you can win in this top lane, Ackerman has done a job on balls. LMQ as a whole has put him in a position to win, something that he was not granted in their last match against Dignitas. He came into the lane behind. This is not something LMQ let happen this time. They were very sure to make sure they got balls behind before allowing that 1v1. And the Renekton is showing superior over balls of Shyvana.
Oh, wait a minute, a mistake possibly. Moore throws himself into the fire. NoName's going to be in there. The absolute zero's canceled as he starts walking. And Vasilii takes some damage there. Cloud9 pulls out a squeaker on that one.
Hey, Cloud9 definitely opportunistic right there, seeing a very squishy Zyra. But oftentimes in the past, LMQ has used Moore kind of as bait, and killing Moore will actually end up suiciding for a team. Not the case that time. Cloud9 gets in and out for now.
LMQ, still look at them though. They are not on the back foot. They say, all right, well, let's fight back, push you back. You're not getting anything off of that. Unfortunately to them, that mid turret did fall, and Cloud9 knew that they kind of overstaying their welcome, so they got out of there.
Yeah, really just watching this one more time. They knew XiaoWeiXiao was in the bottom lane, so the assassination threat was low, and then they just walked in different directions from each other. That was completely Moore's mistake, separating himself from NoName and the rest of the team.
Never easy being the last guy in line. Everything looks safe, but then they know you're the last guy. Ackerman and balls clocking each other in the jaw, back and forth. Nothing really much going on between these two. Looking down, 4 sweepers coming out for LMQ as they want more control. They want to shut down Cloud9's any chance of coming back.
And they're definitely allowed more sweepers because they have more sight stones, so they don't need as many replenishable wards on the map since they have so much control with the sight stones.
That blue buff quickly being taken out since Meteos cleared that at 8. So that was a 15-minute blue buff. It's actually been sitting there for quite some time. Definitely different play from Cloud9 here, kind of all sorts.
They're definitely playing very much to turtle this one out. When they recognized that LMQ had went the double sightstone and went for a very vision-heavy advantage, they kind of switched gears and said they're just going to try and keep their farm up. And for the most part, they have done that. Sneaky is above Vasilii. Balls has pulled slightly ahead of Ackerman. And despite giving up the Dragons, it's only a 2,000 gold edge. And with all the investment LMQ has put into this vision game, if they don't find some catches off of it, Cloud9 would start turning this game around because there's not a huge team fight advantage for LMQ in this game.
Very good pressure coming in from LMQ, but Cloud9 is going to get what they want out of this. They do steal back to blue. Timer on that. Every little bit helps for Cloud9 right now. Usually a team.
Yeah, but Cloud9, Cloud9 can't do this for long because of this guy. XiaoWeiXiao is the solo laner, and Cloud9 doesn't really have someone who can adequately deal with him. So Cloud9 can make a few nice moves for now while they're ignoring him because they have a 5v4, but they can't ignore him forever. They're going to have to send 2 people for him, and he just backs away. This is what we thought LMQ was going to be doing with their team comp.
Right, reminiscent of the first few games when XiaoWeiXiao would just sit on the side and punish that top laner every time he went to farm. I think it was Quas, might have been Quas, I don't know. A lot of players, a lot of names, a lot of games. 33,000 to 30,000 right now. They have evened up the turret, so Cloud9 gets a little bit more map pressure back, and they shut down that turret vision for LMQ. 40 seconds on Dragon, you can see where everybody's mind is.
And this, if there was a time, would be the Dragon that Cloud9 can contest. High has the resets in his jump. He actually ranked his E second instead of his W, so he wants to do damage with that jump. In the upcoming team fights, really hoping to get some resets. They're looking to snowball a fight here, and they actually have some vision control. If they can catch LMQ coming in, it would be the turning point in the game. But like I said, if they lose a team fight, that could be it. Here it comes.
Ackerman taking a few shots. NoName's ability to just get himself in there, he is fearless. But it's also just kind of a tell if a Nunu's walking at you that the ult's going to be there. So Cloud9 plays it safe. Hard hats are on as we are about to do a Baron dance, or a Dragon dance.
It is so interesting right here because diving on top of a Zyra Nunu is next to impossible. Cloud9 has to be able to go in and back out and not stay through, but the plants are down.
So many wards.
A lot of poke.
Oh, clearing them out. Pink ward prevails. And LMQ gains mid-brush.
Who can poke each other more is a big question here. A lot of Corki missiles coming in, more already at half health, and Hai is hoping to flank around the back, which is making this push-pull effect for LMQ. If LMQ fully commits, they expose themselves for Kha'Zix. If they keep doing this dance, they might get out-poked by the Corki missiles, or they're waiting for a catch from Zyra.
Moore is dead immediately if Hai can find him. Cloud9 getting choked into a spot. Hai is on the other side. This is going to be a Cloud9 win. The Summoner heal comes out from LMQ, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Bleeding out into the river. Cloud9 tries to recuperate on this one. Now reassessing the fight. They have everything they need. Meteos goes in with the Q. He gets the Summoner heal coming in from Sneaky, and it looks like LMQ actually disengages handily.
Cloud9 could not quite get the resets, and one falls from both sides, but they do force most of LMQ back. They're actually thinking about staying and trying to get a pick here. Teleport coming in from Ackerman.
Oh my gosh, Ackerman may cancel. No, he doesn't. Home guard's on the run. The slice. Oh, he jumps. He doesn't get the dice. What timing coming in from Hai. But there is huge damage. The distortion in from a XiaoWeiXiao. Moore is still there. He says, let's go, Ackerman. But Sneaky brings him down. LemonNation. Oh my gosh. Very good play coming out of everybody. Lemon coming out of the base. That was somebody else. Yeah, lost.
It was absolute chaos, Rib. In all of it, the support of LMQ, Moore picked up a double kill, and Sneaky picks up a double of his own. Let's go back to the very start of this fight, and it was a great turn, Shyvana plus the tidal wave, but the zone control of LMQ was actually lost because the diving of Hai and Meteos got in behind the Venn diagram of Nunu and Zyra ultimates, which meant the chase could be on. But LMQ, with the gold lead, was able to survive just long enough. That could have easily been a disaster, and a 4-for-1 for Cloud9, but it was not. Then, the fight continues. Teleport comes in from Ackerman, and it looked like it could be worse. Luckily for Cloud9, XiaoWeiXiao was low on mana, so all he could do was that W.
Oh my god.
Then he was clean out of mana. They didn't finish him off. Moore lands a great plant kill there. But once that happened, since they had stuck around and chased and Ackerman was the only one at full health, the after effects of the first fight still held true, and they could get a double kill back onto Sneaky. So all things considered, Rib, craziest fight. I'd say Cloud9's back in the game.
Very much so. Everything's been done. 2,000 gold down, but Cloud9 is finding the ins and outs necessary to keep themselves alive and really are going to put themselves on the doorstep of LMQ. They have to reconsider these fights a little bit. I figured XiaoWeiXiao coming in with these Zanyas would able to be kind of a playmaker and really set Cloud9 off in the fight, but well executed. Yes, they do. A lot of damage to Meteos. There comes the hit coming in. The tidal wave goes through the team. That's going to be more going down. The crowd control is now out. Can they keep going?
And they managed to pull that off without Balls having to burn his teleport. A very bold move by Meteos. He's going heavily into tank on Lee Sin because he knows he needs to fly into some very dangerous territory to pull off plays. But that's the second time Moore has actually been caught out and cost his team a kill.
All right, Cloud9 cleaning up at the turrets. Looks like Hai is going to do what he can. This is a scary situation. You can see XiaoWeiXiao already on blue elixir, and the game's kind of at mid-game, so he's throwing as much money as he can into the fights. I mean, what team have we ever seen kind of lose dragon positioning and a fight and then teleport back in? LMQ just keep going into the fire.
They definitely pile on to objectives when they feel like they're in danger.
Yeah.
And even in their game against Dignitas, once they fell behind, they just kept trying to come back at them. This is kind of one of those games as well where if LMQ does fall behind, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to come back. They had such a nice early lead, but Cloud9 is really clawing their way back here, specifically Sneaky's Corki, who will have a huge amount of power right now with the Trinity Force and that Bloodthirster. If XiaoWeiXiao can't get onto Sneaky, I feel like Cloud9 actually wins a lot of these fights.
Yep. You heard Vasilii earlier today in the intro video. If we can beat Cloud9, it will be a huge step in the strength of our team, and we'll really solidify it. But right now, Cloud9 showing that being behind against LMQ and now to beat them, it's something nobody has done yet.
No. And with 281 CS on XiaoWeiXiao, they're trying to make sure this doesn't happen. Ooh. Tries his best to get onto Sneaky, but he used most of his damage just to get in range of the chain.
Gotta be careful in this fight. Very low mana for LemonNation. He throws out the ult immediately. They want to dictate it because they know the conditions they're under. It looks like LMQ is not going to like those conditions. They back right off.
Not a clean initiation for Cloud9 right there. The tidal wave missed, and Hai flashed out after leaping. It wasn't coordinated with Balls' Shyvana ultimate either. So LMQ actually wants to stick around here, I thought, because so much was burned by Cloud9, but they're actually just going to back away.
Said, all right, you don't want us to take the turret. We'll back off. There's some money to be spent.
You used all your skills. We will go away now.
We got Sunfire Cape and a little bit of magic resistance being mitigated over on the side of Balls, but Ackerman has that Banshee's Veil already created on the Sunfire Cape. He's been having a good game for himself. He's actually surpassed Balls again in CS, so those two kind of going back and forth in a little lane fighting throughout the game. XiaoWeiXiao and Hai. Still a matchup to be watched.
I know.
I don't think we really got much out of this one for those two.
Yeah, the main thing is Hai got pretty obliterated in lane.
Yeah.
But the rest of his team is carrying him through right here. They lost control of the mid lane, and it's really just the stalling of Cloud9 that's letting Hai back in this one.
Sneaky, creeping around, trying to keep his CS up. He's actually passed out by Vasilii on that as well.
He's actually getting out itemed right now, but he's sitting on 1,600 gold. He's probably wanting to go back for his last Whisper. He doesn't quite have the funding yet to do so. 400 gold ahead of Vasilii, as you can see. And it's really that big mid lane discrepancy is what's holding a lot of this.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nunu has gone more supportive, hasn't farmed nearly as much as Meteos. One thing about Meteos as far as jungle Lee Sin goes, he has farmed much more than you typically would see a Lee Sin farm. Lee Sin normally is all over the place gank-wise, but because he was against a Nunu and Cloud9 had lost vision, he mainly just relegated himself to farming, but because of the farm, he's turned himself into quite a strong tank, and he can now dive in with much impunity.
Setting themselves up, everybody timing that dragon as it's about to spawn. A very nice wave in the top lane as well. Balls not having teleport. So it looks like they're all here for the party. Pink ward goes down. NoName is going to be in the bush to see that. Try for the Aqua Prison.
Really awkward timing by LMQ. They back XiaoWeiXiao, but it wasn't in vision control, so Cloud9 should actually think he's waiting. But they start the dragon regardless, and XiaoWeiXiao is not in range. How is LMQ going to posture and fake like they have someone there? Here comes the flank!
Balls are on the outside! Oh my god, more goes down instantly! Balls can take great amount of damage. Vasilii and XiaoWeiXiao giving him what for, and he's still alive. Good hits coming in. Meteos gets himself in with the Lee Syndrome on the Q. That's a nice absolute zero positioning, but nobody was able to walk into it on the side of Cloud9. Vasilii goes down. Cloud9 is taking back over in this game.
2 kills, and it was all about the positioning of that fight, Riv. They got the turn. XiaoWeiXiao was not there, and Cloud9 just went in at the right moment. This dragon will actually give them the gold lead. Taking one more look at this one. You can see XiaoWeiXiao actually used his distortion just to get in range, and the battle lines of LMQ were destroyed. Moore got killed before he could use his ultimate, and therefore Cloud9 could just continue diving. We also mentioned Meteos' tanky build. He could go into that fight basically 1v3 just to keep LMQ interested because he had no fear of 9. Big time fight for Cloud9.
Great play. Cloud9 playing the cards right. Very nicely done. Mid turret going to be hit up here. LMQ, they lose a fight. Where are they? They're at your turrets. They are never going to give up. They try to get as much damage on it as they can. Only a little bit, but enough is XiaoWeiXiao even trying for the bag of chips on the side. Great play so far. Coming in from Cloud9 to hold steady. Hai's definitely back in action with keeping the team organized in tight situations.
Yeah, and as a team, Cloud9 is really pulling their strategy together in team fights, and it's showing them edges. Here's what they're doing. You look at LMQ's team, and you try and analyze where their damage is actually coming from. They have a huge amount of burst from XiaoWeiXiao. Nunu, mainly magic damage, very little damage though. Ackerman is basically a tank. Zyra can become a secondary form of AP carry damage, and they recognize that, and they're ignoring Vasilii itemization-wise. Everyone's building magic resistance, and they're heavily diving Vasilii with Hai, Meteos, and Balls. If they can take Vasilii out of fights, they only have to worry about the magic damage, which they're itemizing for, and then trying to win that way. So it's a very nice team fight strategy by Cloud9. Watch to see where they focus, and their itemization is superb.
Looks like Cloud9 now making moves of their own. It's not just posturing around Dragon for LMQ to come. Cloud9 is now staying there inside and trying to force LMQ into this. Sneaky's going to be going mid lane. Double buff to keep him extra safe, along with a Valkyrie. Uh-oh, Balls, a 3v2 situation. Balls gets out.
Flank though.
Whoa, Hai coming in from the side, almost takes down XiaoWeiXiao, and it looks like C9 may be able to collapse here. It's Sneaky just a little ways off. XiaoWeiXiao still alive in the end of the fight. Ackerman doing what he can. He is a brick wall right now. It's going to be more throwing down the Stranglethorns, and LMQ has reset on this fight. Nobody has gone, actually balls went down, sorry, but they walk away limping on both sides.
Yeah, but Cloud9 couldn't take down Vasilii that time, and you could see him starting to clean up near the end of that fight with those 3 big items. He life stole a whole bunch after the failed start by Cloud9. So a little bit of danger. The first big mistake we've actually seen them make since coming back from that big early game disadvantage. It's game on right now. As you can see right here.
A little too much.
Yeah, and you can see Cloud9 try to collapse over. They actually try to burst down XiaoWeiXiao. Vasilii wasn't even there, but because they used so much of their burst here, the chase was actually ill-advised. They think they can ignore their damage because that's what they've been doing in team fights generally, but when Vasilii arrives, it's just trouble from that point. The Zyra ult zones them a little bit, and Vasilii's a scary man.
So back and forth. Last tweet saying bloodthirsty. Definitely a great way to state this game. 8-7, but these teams have walked away from the fights numerous times with blinking red health bars just to come back and do it again. Cloud9 takes the lead by just 700 gold.
Wow, what a game. The vision control over the Baron pit as well is going to be so important. Still 2 side stones sitting on LMQ. Cloud9 with the 3 sweepers, but a lot of pink wards. And it's all about where they can posture for fights now. It's not so much about how many wards you can put on the map because the game is much more condensed now into smaller areas. It's about how you can control those areas. It's more about sweeping, less about spamming wards, which means the double sidestone isn't nearly as effective as it was 20 minutes ago.
LMQ may see this as a chance once they get eyes on balls in the bottom lane. He does have teleport, but LMQ is fast and steady when they initiate a fight. He's going to get this turret, so wow, Cloud9 pick up a bit of map pressure onto this with Baron being up. This is an awesome grab.
Yeah, and this is about that control of the spot. Cloud9 able to clear pink wards with the Baron area without risking getting initiated upon. Look at what LMQ sees right now. It's very sparse vision. They do know that High is off in the top lane, so they can kind of check things, but they got to be very scared that a tidal wave doesn't catch them out of the fog of war. Sneaky though gets it up.
Wow, they were all for going head-to-head on that one. Very close. Vasilii's damage coming out on top with a few minions in the way. Sneaky couldn't connect every bomb, so we'll have to watch his positioning in these fights. High now to the top lane as well. These guys are keeping split pushing in love, right? Or they're loving split pushing, I should say.
High is trying to use the split push as a way to really farm up. He evolved W. I'm actually very surprised he didn't evolve his ultimate against LeBlanc Burst, so he doesn't get that extra bits of damage reduction that he would want from his ultimate.
Meteos, quick clear on Baron wards. They need to keep this very, very controlled. We've seen what XiaoWeiXiao can do at a Baron attempt, coming up with triple kills. Yasuo or LeBlanc can get those same results.
Yeah, this game got a whole bunch more tense as soon as Cloud9 had that one misstep. They should still hold an edge in a 5v5 team fight, but they're doing a lot of split pushing now. Mainly to, I believe, just get control of the Baron area and continue to deny LMQ vision. They're trying to keep them running between spots.
It's like this dragon may be at the point of being worth the most. Big pickup here for Cloud9 still. Everybody's still quite early. We don't see 6 items in the game yet, or even a lot of 3 or 4 items.
36 minutes in. Not a very bloody game considering the amount of movement. It's because Cloud9 did a very good job stalling. And then LMQ actually did a good job abandoning fights when they started losing them, and they've never actually let Kha'Zix get those resets.
That's true. Something LMQ has always been good at, even if you don't have a Zyra or a Nunu to separate, is they disengage. They know how to spread, and they know how to get away. I believe once they played against Complexity in the Mel fight, they would never let an unstoppable force hit, ever.
Yeah. And these are 2 of the teams with the best team fight coordination as well.
Yeah.
Very standard rosters. LMQ stuck together all through the Challenger scene. They've been together for half a year. Cloud9 much longer. They're like a family as well. Almost not even vocal communication team fights. They just know where each other are going.
You see Sneaky here on the front line, giving that blue buff over and over so he can keep spitting out bombs. Corki pickup for him has been working quite well, and nobody's really had the mind to take it away from him. 5-0-2 right now for the team. Let's see what they can do with the next turret.
If it gets to hyper late game, Corki's going to fall off scaling-wise a little bit, but at this moment, he is an absolute monster. 3 ranks into his missiles right
turrets.
now. A huge amount of poke coming out. That's another reason Hai evolved his W. More poke damage and siege to kind of bait LMQ into initiating.
They may have this one coming up. Already prepped to go down. Wow, Cloud9. They turn the page and they start going textbook.
Yeah, no mana left on Hai though, which actually tells LMQ they can get a little bit aggressive right here.
A little bit. That probably means they're going to try to go all-out fight.
Yeah, that's a little bit of LMQ aggression.
We'll see what they can do.
Find it.
So the back, wow, just on the outside. LMQ not seeing. And we're going to see what they can do now. Like we said, their vision's a little scarce. NoName throwing down a ward. They'll be able to pick up a pink here. And this is like, I think the first time in 5 or so minutes they've actually been on this side of the map. Cloud9 had a great run just now.
I mean, it's resource management. They knew Hai was going back to base, and they know they have temporary vision control. They were trying to sneak this. I wonder if they go. They do have Nunu for the secure. Cloud9 has to die right now.
He used the Q already. Meteos flashes in. Where's the smite going to go? Baron down to 700. It's actually hit up by Ackerman. Going down, and they're going to keep going on to the fight. Ackerman is right in the middle. Dominus is shredding HP bars along with the Call of the Meek, and they are still going. Sneaking on the outside. Him and Vasilii now in a 1v1 with a bit of help. It's going to be Vasilii, but then he's focused in by Cloud9. Hai tries to jump. The Ethereal Chain takes him down. Balls is running scared, and it looks like we will have LemonNation going to the top side as well. LMQ gets Baron.
What a call by LMQ right there to just go for the Baron, despite being pushed around for the past 15 minutes, knowing Hai was back and knowing they had the potential for a new secure. Even though he wasn't even the one to get the Baron, knowing that they could burst down the damage that quickly and force Cloud9 to dive into Azira and have LMQ control the positioning of that fight. They get the Baron, only lose one person, and just look at that. Nunu started his ultimate before the dive. They weren't even going for the Baron. They were just daring Cloud9 to dive in, which meant the initiation was sloppy. The Zyra ultimate catches everyone on Cloud9, and the push continues down mid.
Vasilii, he's dead, but he bought an Infinity Edge. That's huge for him after that fight. Once he gets back in, he's going to be zeroing people out. He is mounds ahead of the damage this sneak is going to get. Like you said, going to be falling off soon. And the second that LMQ gets back on the side of Cloud9's base, they start taking over again.
Yeah.
They had a chance to breathe.
What a fantastic move. I really can't say enough. And now Vasilii, with that Infinity Edge and the Nunu Blood Boil, becomes the prominent carry for LMQ. He's also built a Alacrity boost to try and keep his distance. These fights are really going to be kind of classic Season 2 fights in the sense where it's the 80 carry versus the world. Cloud9's going to try to put so much into diving onto him, whether Hai, Meteos, and Balls can get to him, and whether Nunu and Zyra can protect him. That's exactly the team you want if you're trying to protect your team from being dived upon.
41 minutes on the clock. Exactly the same gold amongst these teams. 64,000 as it hits the mark. 5 to 6 in turrets. Cannot get any closer between two teams that are clawing their way to the top spot in the North American LCS. So this is only the start of the split.
Yeah.
This is going to be a crazy split with
and
the
you
results
can really
we've
see
had.
Cloud9's items as well. They built 3 Rand wins. They're no longer trying to ignore Vasilii because they know that they can't necessarily kill him right away. Open inhibitor, still people with Baron on LMQ. They're going for this one. Let's see if Cloud9 tries to flank from behind because Lee Sin is right there.
Balls isn't there for the fight, so this is Cloud9 accepting that that inhibitor has to go down. Can they keep LMQ from backing in this situation? Do they have enough power?
Trying to trade inhibitors right now. He never teleported back up. It's a very dangerous game for Cloud9 to play, though, trying to interrupt recalls.
Not enough wards in the jungle. Well, Ackerman's going to be found. That's one. That would definitely give Balls a problem if he were able to meet it. You can see the turret down to 75% health. He's trying to get some twin bites on it. I think he's going to be able to take it down before they get back, but he could die here.
LMQ is running at him with Nunu and LeBlanc instead of doing the recall game. Balls, he can finish the turret, but it's probably going to cost him his life.
And let's see how he moves out of this one. The rest of the team is coming down mid, so depending on what they use here, he goes down quite quick on that one. Cloud9 is going to be forced to back. Vasilii, a nice little dash calling in.
Trying to pull off some fancy moves. It's a turret for a death.
Yep.
That is a 55-second death timer. Dragging up in 26 seconds. Not a terrible move for Cloud9. It does give one more kill to the ever-present assassin, XiaoWeiXiao's LeBlanc.
Now it starts to get scarier on the other side of scaling. Like you said, more at that point can start to become a caster himself. The Void Staff that Leandri's finished. It's going to start hurting. Void Staff as well coming in for XiaoWeiXiao. It's going to be very painful to come into these fights for Cloud9. Using that poke to stay alive right now.
Yeah, so LMQ right here. Knowing that Balls is dead, going for it. Amazing that Cloud9's actually going for the Dragon here when their base is in danger. They got to get back, otherwise they're going to give up inhibitor number 2 and maybe cost themselves the game.
Could have been a bit of a relaxed call on this one. Cloud9 seems to
Balls is still down. They shouldn't
not
have
be
went
home
that.
for company here. And they're going to be losing an inhibitor. Good Aqua Prison. But that's a lot for a very little.
Yeah, I mean, now they're trying to teleport in with Shyvana, with Banshees. They're trying to get this fight because they know they may lose the game.
Going on Ackerman immediately. That's going to be the Stranglethorn going down. Meteos is trying to come in from the backside, but he hits NoName. Not a lot of damage to be provided there. Tries to get a good cripple, and Tempest in. Don't now back off. Meteos cannot do much. LMQ doing a very good job at microing themselves in and out when the higher health bar needs to be taking damage.
Get one.
Very nice job. That's going to be big. Moore tries to offer up the true damage from his passive. High goes in. He is full HP. XiaoWeiXiao for the backside. Gets up Balls, and he could be taking him down. There's the 1-2 from him and NoName. They are now following C9 from the backside. They were just on the front side. What is happening in this fight? High turns it around. He's going to go for the triple. Triple kill for High. 13 to 14, 44 minutes in, and Meteos is saving the base.
A last-ditch fight for Cloud9, but honestly, Rib, they're not out of the woods yet. They're still down 2 inhibitors, and that was a last-ditch effort to prevent losing themselves the game. They ended up losing an inhibitor, and Meteos had to leave the fight to go defend that because the super minions pushed up the mid lane. Still, a whole bunch of money just went into High's hands.
Oh my gosh, what a game. Let's take a look at it again.
Yeah, this one, see, they have the ultimates up, but they're gone, and that means the control of the fight is lost and Cloud9 can continue to chase. It was still a whole bunch of chaos. We mentioned these guys are the best teams in team fights. Watch the way XiaoWeiXiao actually sneaks in behind them, I believe, and manages to burst down Sneaky. Zanyazing while he's chaining Sneaky right there, and it allows Vasilii to come in and finish him, and then he's still in the back of the fight. He was a pain this entire time. All that farm onto the block, picking up one fight after another, as High is desperately trying to finish them off. And then, because he can get resets, he does the mini leap because he has so much damage in there. And because of the AoE damage from his Hydra, is able to clean up. Unbelievable fight.
We got to remember, before all this happened, they lost 2 inhibitors. So as great as that looks, they are still up against the ropes.
Yeah, and a Nexus turret.
Right, but yeah, the 2.
They get 1 inhibitor
Meteos
back
was
right
struggling
there. They have a timeline until the next inhibitor can come back. And the Baron does not cooperate with that time.
No,
this is going to be real
not.
tough.
Sweet.
Probably didn't mean to random swing
Yeah,
there.
maybe not.
Rare mistake for LMQ as they've been playing immaculately since Cloud9 was able to pick up that lead. This has been such a great game. 46 minutes in, trying to get vision control. The big thing about this is Cloud9 has to keep that top lane pushed, otherwise their Nexus would die. This is a nearly incontestable Baron.
Dash away. And LMQ knows it. They know they can't even contest the outright fight. That's a very nice Nami ultimate, but is it followed up? Because there is the disengage from the Stranglethorn. Meteos getting hit up. Good HP bars on both sides. Still looks like a strong fight. Ackerman, he is going for broke on this one. Ball's getting very hurt. Vasilei's low. Wait a minute. It's going to be High coming in. He's going to get the rock down to the Guardian Angel of Vasilii. Meteos on the back line. A few more shots for him can solidify a kill, and kill secured. Double kill for High. He's going big again. Shots coming in from Sneaky onto NoName, and Cloud9 may have just turned this one around.
It's just XiaoWeiXiao open, but there are super minions coming along Cloud9, and they're not sending someone back. Those super minions might end the game unless the inhibitor respawn in the time frame. They're going for the open inhibitor. Meteos goes back. What a fight from Cloud9.
They got that fresh spawn of minions. Like you said, Meteos back. It will be safe. Minions coming out every 30 seconds, so he's good to go. But
They're
these minions behind
right
Cloud9 right now, only XiaoWeiXiao.
No casualties in that fight. They're trying to push this one down. High just zoning him out with a ton of damage.
47 minutes in, Cloud9 breathing safe while still losing 2 inhibitors to come back and take down LMQ in the game. Summer Split, Week 2.
What a game, Riv. 18 kills to 13. Cloud9 came back from being 2 inhibitors and a Nexus turret down. Some incredibly chaotic fights down the stretch where they broke through the backline of LMQ. And that is a tough loss for LMQ to take.
What an amazing game to get this day started. Huge play shown by LMQ. Cloud9 showing they are very much back to form when it comes to situational control.
Yeah, this was such a high-level game in so many ways. Pretty much close goal throughout. Cloud9 fell behind early and then was able to recognize where their mid-game team fighting was going to take them through. They executed a lot of those mid-game team fights just right, juking and dodging and diving around the control of Nunu and Zyra. Eventually, Hai was able to pick up enough kills to just take off as that late-game Kha'Zix. XiaoWeiXiao was a wizard the whole time on the block, just being untouchable, but not quite enough in the end. Cloud9 is victorious, moves themselves to 4-2, which is coincidentally tie with LMQ.
A game that literally came down to the last call. Sometimes it's just a team fight, but the right plays at the right time. Like I said, to breathe easy while losing 2 inhibitors, I'm sure there was a little bit of stress there, but it looked like they were in control the whole time because they were.
Yeah, that was honestly kind of both teams knowing what they wanted to do.
At the end there, at least.
At most of the time.
Yeah.
The only misstep by Cloud9 is kind of what started the chain that ended up winning them the game. When they went to get that dragon and they were slow teleporting back, made LMQ push into their base. The last-ditch effort team fight, like with how well these teams team fight, strategically, all those things, they both played quite well. Yeah. It was just down to the tiniest details in team fights. The one missed skill shot.
Yeah.
Jumping in at exactly the right time, autoing the right person, focusing your damage the right way. And that just comes from playing together for so long. It easily could have went either way.
And talking to, even before the season started, now during the season, a lot of the players, other teams say that, they figure LMQ would be a middle-of-the-pack team. I don't know about that now.
Yeah.
They can play very high caliber. They can slow it down, do whatever they need to in a game.
There's still so much left to be seen here because it looked like LMQ was going to take down Cloud9 handily.
Oh, yeah.
In the early game. And to not be able to close it actually does show that they're not there yet.
That's true.
So they do have work to do, and I believe LMQ recognizes that. Even when they went 4-0 in Super Week, they said, we don't actually feel like we're at our full potential yet. And they did have that easy record, remember. Their opponents were 4-12 overall in Super Week. This week they had to play against Dignitas and Cloud9, a much more difficult schedule. Yeah. They got wrecked by Dignitas. This game, they put up a fantastic showing, but just couldn't close.
It becomes the situation where you have so many good players, and like they said, they respect Cloud9. But they said to themselves, we know we're good. We'd pick ourselves to be on our own fantasy team. But if we can't beat Cloud9, then that kind of doesn't validate our power in the league. Yeah,
well, the nice thing here about the NA LCS, they're going to play Cloud9 3 more times. Yeah, this is just week 2.
Absolutely, and we already have amazing action coming. While we catch our breath after that exciting match, let's hand it over to Freak and Kobe for more on Cloud9's win.
Thank you very much, Riv. Some guys want to welcome Sneaky and High to the desk. Guys, that was an incredibly impressive game, like 50 minutes long, fights back and forth. So LMQ starts out with a really heavy lead. They take every dragon like on respawn. How do you kind of collect yourselves and figure out, well, we're going to fight 20 minutes into the game or something?
Well, first off, they had a lot of dragon control because, one, they have Nunu, and we were 2v1ing on top side. So normally when you're 2v1 on purple side, the blue team can take the first dragon for free. Yep. So they get the first dragon, and they have a lot of pressure mid just because I can't do anything to LeBlanc. He's like double my CS. He just beats me in fights. So he has pressure mid. They have pressure bottom. They just take free dragons, and there's not really anything we can do about that. I need to be at level 11 before we fight, or they need to do a terrible fight. So we knew we were behind. It really sucked. We were trying to figure out what to do, and we just did our best to stall. We had Sneaky get a lot of farm, and they had no MR, so he could poke him a lot with his missiles. So we just had to stall the game slowly, just so we can come back in the end.
So what was the reasoning behind you guys picking Kha'Zix into LeBlanc and knowing that you guys are going to go for this lane swap that's going to isolate you?
We've had better ideas, I would say. I didn't have that much fun in lane, personally. You can ask Wei-Jun how much fun he had just bullying me the entire time. I wasn't enjoying myself, but once team fight started happening, I started having more fun. but that was an interesting matchup.
Yeah. So speaking of matchups as well as making interesting choices, almost had the segue there. Sneaky, you picked Corki with Twitch on the table the entire time. A lot of us were surprised by that. What's the reasoning?
We had way too much physical damage for a Twitch pick to be good there. They could just build all armor. Like, LeBlanc was going Hourglass anyways, so if I was Twitch, it would be insane 80 damage. So Corki was the right choice there.
And was that sort of... Did you know you're going for like Kha'Zix early on? Like, is that where you kind of saved your AD pick? Because like you could have like second picked Twitch, for example, right?
I'm not really fully in control of that, so it's more on Lemon because he does most of the pick bans. I may have first picked Twitch and changed around the whole team comp because I like Twitch so much, but I'm not in full control of it.
All right.
Now, we talked about the rough early game that you guys expected after the drafting phase here, but we have a replay of a dragon fight where I believe you guys start to retake control of this game. So let's get that up on the screen. All right, so this is a dragon fight where you guys are actually starting it out this time.
Right. I think Balls said he wanted to go flank around, so I think right now he's in their jungle, I believe.
Yeah, right.
So he's like flanking their backline, and at the same time that's happening, their front line dives in. We basically kill Zyra every fight at the beginning just because she's so squishy. I'm telling Balls not to dive, to not kill himself right now because we can't get there to back him up. So we're just focusing on the front line, and when we can start backing up, then we go in. And I don't remember who we all kill here, if anyone.
We killed Vasilii.
Oh yeah. Vasilii tried to kill me, I think, and then died for it. And we got the other kills for that. So we got a free dragon and like 3 kills, and that's when our momentum in the game started coming back.
Now, prepping that dragon fight, did you know that XiaoWeiXiao was going to return to base and you were going for that window, or is that just fortunate? You guys didn't see him for a while.
We kind of knew he was going to base because I had poked him to Half-Life from Rockets, so we kind of just assumed, and we went for the dragon just because of that.
So speaking of your play as well, like I think more this game than any other one, I saw you diving in, like in the middle of fights, like past Renekton to chase kills down. What makes you think, like, I'm going to dive past the front line and get this kill and get away with it?
It's mainly because they're super low, and I can actually finish them off, and Renekton's so tanky that it's not really worth my time to just try and knock him down rather than finishing up a kill in the back lane.
Yeah. You just decide, yeah, I can deal with it.
It's very important to get me the reset in the fight. And if Sneaky dies for it, but he gives me a reset so I can kill everyone else, like at that top fight, then that's worth it. So if I can get that reset and jump on the other people, then likely the team fight will go well for us.
Yeah, a lot of the times, Sneaky would be looking to go aggressive versus Vasilii and use everything. How do you guys actually keep your composure and actually calculate those trades? Because some of the times, trade was not going to go in your favor.
Most of the times, I think in Corki versus Lucian, I think Corki comes out on top, just throwing all your abilities at each other, just because he has to get like a max range ulti to be able to actually beat you. So almost every time I went in, I knew I would come out on top.
There's actually, so we have another replay actually, talking about fights a whole lot. It's the Baron fight. It's the one, actually Baron regens over
it's
Meteos'
a Baron
fight. It's one of them. I think it's the LMQ one.
Yeah.
If you guys want to walk me through this one.
I believe Meteos goes for a steal here. I don't honestly know what he was doing because I'm focusing on what I'm doing right now. So Balls uses ulti, but he doesn't really get in the backline with the ulti. So I'm trying to jump in with him at this time, but we can't get to the backline right now. I think Corki gets CC'd and Renekton's on top of him. So the fact that Corki can't hit their backline and Balls has no way of getting there anymore, I can't really jump in, otherwise I would just die as well. We just lose this team fight just because we can't get to the backline. They got to Baron, they kited backwards, and because of that we lost the fight pretty handedly. It wasn't that
So
much.
leading up to this Baron by LMQ, you guys took that last turret and you were like out of mana as Kha'Zix. What is the communication with the team at that point? Are you trying to get them to stall for you to get back to Fountain and get your mana to rejoin the Baron area?
A big reason why we lost that fight as well, I think we were too greedy. So we got the mid inner turret, right?
Yeah.
We went to take the top inner turret too, but that took too much of our time and we lost Baron control with that. I think 3 of us had 2,000, 3,000 gold in our pockets. So not only did we not use our money that we had, that they punished us for that. We stood around too long, took the turret, and they knew we had a heal, so they're like, hey, let's just do Baron. They can't all be here. And then they forced a good fight off of our greed, so.
Yeah, I had an insane amount of gold at that fight. I had like 3,000, enough for Blade the Rune King when I backed before the fight even started. So I kind of wanted to back, but I knew they were going to do some pressurizing, so I had to stay.
I actually have a question for you on the Rune King build because I've seen a lot of AD carries recently go like Bloodthirster, Triforce, Last Whisper, and then add a Rune King on top instead of Infinity Edge. Like, what's up with that build? It's weird to me.
I think Infinity Edge after Trinity Force is really bad just because you have no crit on Trinity Force. It's the same as its Zeal. So going Blade the Rune King increases your DPS and your survivability like 2 times more than Infinity Edge.
Okay.
Did it have anything to do with double tanks, or would you just usually get Blade of the Ruined King regardless?
I would get Blade of the Ruined King regardless. You can dual 80s easier, you can run away, you can catch up. It's so much more versatile than Infinity Edge.
Okay. Interesting to talk about that one. Yeah.
We have one more replay, I believe.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't even hear that. Yeah, we have one more replay. I was like, hopefully Kobe heard what that was. So we have one more replay. This is the miraculous comeback in the top lane after they've taken like 2 inhibs down. We want to pull that replay up as well. So this is basically like the fight that gets you guys back in the game.
Okay, so we traded a dragon for an inhibitor, which I wouldn't really recommend. But at this point in time, we really want to fight. So Balls just basically goes in. We're focusing the front right now, and this fight is extremely chaotic. We can't run it through because of Nuno at the moment, and we're basically just hitting the front line. And Renekton is extremely tanky. He's not dying. So we're slowly going in. I'm trying to flank around on the side, and I think Sneaky is just like fighting them all. And maybe they kill themselves to kill Sneaky pretty soon. But we want to go in like really badly. And at the same time, our base is dying, so we have to send one person back. I think Meteos backs maybe. I don't really know. But just a team fight in general, they just keep running backwards, and it's hard for us to catch up.
And High's call here was, I need a kill or we lose this fight.
Yeah, so Lemon thankfully kills Vasilii, and that lets me kill everyone else. If Vasilii didn't die there, we probably would have lost that fight. So thank God for Lemon.
Now, did Meteos make the call to go back and defend base by himself, or
Yeah,
did someone?
that was him. He was paying attention to the base the entire game. He's like, all right, I'm coming back, saving the base. And I'm like, all right, we're going fighting then. So it's pretty handy to have someone like him help out shotgun, because I wasn't paying attention to this right there. I was trying to win the fight.
That's a good way to save the game. So speaking of Meteos, actually, one thing I was tracking throughout the game was how the junglers were progressing. So a couple of random facts. Around mid-game, after their 3rd dragon, Meteos and NoName had the same amount of gold, because even though he took in 3 dragons, Meteos was farming. And then at a later point in the game, Meteos had 574 gold from Lizard Elder from conservation, and Nunu had 40. He had killed 1 camp since getting his Ancient Golem, and so that gold lead was actually pretty massive between those 2 roles. Watching that Nunu kind of control the jungle against you guys, set up all these fights, do you like that style of champion and that style of play? Is there something that you would change if you brought that into Cloud9?
Well, personally, I think Nunu is one of the most annoying champions to deal with, because his sole goal is to be annoying. He doesn't kill you. He doesn't do anything but annoy. He throws snowballs, and that's all he does. So I personally don't like the champion. It's really annoying to play versus, but it's like a support jungler, and it's all right. But as you saw there, it got super weak. It had no money, and Lee Sin was just infinitely stronger than Nunu, even though he had early game pressure, and that's what Nunu does. It's just, what does he do after that, other than throw snowballs, I guess?
Well, congratulations on your win. For our last question, you guys have talked a lot about how you are coming back as a team. Do you still feel like, even after this win as well, there's still a lot of room to gain to get back to where you were? Or are you pretty much back to old Cloud9? Sneaky, you first.
I think we're doing a lot better now. Last week we were playing pretty terribly, and we've improved a lot over the week. I think our scrims went really well, and we showed it here today.
What do you think about next week, Hai?
I don't know who we play next week, but I want to keep getting better. We have a long way to go to be where we want to be. And every one of our players has been putting a lot more effort into it. We've been playing more, we've been thinking about the game more, and we're just trying to get better just because we don't want to be at the bottom. So,
well, I know who you're
PG
playing
and
next
CLG.
week. Dignitas.
Oh, wait. Am I week off?
I believe are one of them. Dignitas is a very confident team right now. Looking to be, they're at the top of the standings. How do you feel about the new Dignitas with Coast members?
honestly, they're doing much better than pretty much everyone expected, I believe. They have a lot better vision control now. Their map control is awesome, and their rotations have just gotten better. They're basically probably the best team right now. I don't know.
Okay.
But they're much better than they were before, and I don't know who's doing it. Maybe it's Skyr at the coach.
All right, well, that was a trick question. You're not even playing them next week.
All right.
It is CLG. Ha!
I got lied to.
Kobe.
So,
Dave did.
all right, man.
Yeah, that's the one.
Jeez.
All right. Anyway, guys, congratulations on your win. You guys are obviously playing awesome. We'll keep seeing you guys progress throughout the year, and hey, maybe you can get that first place back. But we've got more games coming on. We're just warming up. When we come back, Team Curse will face off against Evil Geniuses. The summer split continues after a quick break.
You know that? You can jump over from mid to there.
I know. I play Kha'Zix, dude, please.
Home guard's on the run. The slice. Oh, he jumps. He doesn't get the dice. What timing coming in from high. But there is huge damage. The distortion in from a XiaoWeiXiao. More is still there. He says, let's go, Ackerman. But Sneaky brings him down. LemonNation. Oh, my gosh. Ackerman is right in the middle. Dominus is shredding HP bars along with the Call of the Meek, and they are still going. Sneaking on the outside. Him and Vasilii now in a 1v1 with a bit of help. It's going to be Vasilii, but then he's focused in by Cloud9. There's the 1-2 from him and NoName. They are now following C9 from the backside. They were just on the front side. What is happening in this fight? High turns it around. He's going to go for the triple. Woo! Triple kill for High.
Yo, kill it, come in. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Let's go, let's go. NoName. Vasilii, Vasilii. Vasilii, kill him with his spawns. Kill Vasilii with his spawns.
They're also.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, more. We can probably finish. We can probably finish. Push.